fighting world powers. Stop the war now, world powers. Stop the killing. In America today, the situation's bad. Suffering of the people, the worst that they've had.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Geechee Line Journey, and we're here again. Got a time change. I decided to do this in the evening here instead of the morning because I had something to do. But anyway, thanks for joining me. We're going to get right into it. This is the Expat view of American current affairs for March 27th, 2025. Come in. As you come in, please go ahead and hit that like button, share this broadcast, and also drop a comment. Let me know you're watching and who's watching. I'd appreciate it. But what's going on this week? I mean, you still have Democratic Party and people who are just people who hate Trump, hate Elon Musk, finding some kind of fault or criticism of what's going on this week. Not to me, it looks like things have been kind of quiet. President Trump is he's still meeting with the press. Not a whole lot of controversy this week. I believe Tom Homan is still working on the immigration problem and removing the illegal aliens. I understand there was a significant operation in Boston that's where they called some people. But I haven't heard a whole lot of noise too much this week because there was some small things that people had, I guess, an excuse to complain about something. I know there was a big scare about people are not going to get their Social Security check this month and all that kind of stuff. Well, just to let you know, for the point of reference, I got mine. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a bunch of bull because I got my Social Security and probably most everybody else did too. So that's why you haven't heard no more drama about that. On the foreign affairs front, haven't heard anything else about any tariffs. Now, I know there's some tariffs that's supposed to be going into effect the 2nd of next month. So that is actually next week. So we'll see what that looks like. But I think some tariffs are supposed to be going through, if I'm not mistaken, the long-awaited and long-threatened tariff to Canada, Mexico, and China. And I believe that there has been some rumblings of other retaliatory tariffs. Like I said, Trump has made this clear that other countries have been imposing tariffs on America all the time, and Americans just let them do it and didn't respond in kind. But I think now time is due is that these other countries are going to put sanctions on American-made goods. America needs to respond in kind. And as for me, some of these countries, they kind of act like they jumping bad, like they're daring Trump to do stuff. They're daring American government to do something, as if if America does anything, it's going to hurt America more than it's going to hurt them. Well, there may be some isolated incidents where that might cause some inconvenience or maybe even some light hardship to some specific industries. That's possible. I'm pretty sure that the president and those advising him are going to move cautiously, but still move with firm resolve to combat the unfair treatment that America has been getting for decades. And this is, again, these things that are coming up now that President Trump is attempting to address. All of these things could have been addressed and resolved 12 years ago when Obama first took office. He could have taken up a lot of this. Yeah, what's up, Diamond? I see you. Thank you, Buttermilk. Hit that like button and share the broadcast. Hope your friend, of course, friend and foe is open to come and help your friend, Diamond Dre. Thanks. Nice to hear from you from Chicago. But a lot of these things that people are complaining about, they could have been addressed 12 years ago. Obama could have addressed this. That regime at that time could have addressed like the poor bookkeeping practices, at some of these federal agencies. They could have dealt with the computer glitches and things like that people are finding fault with the Social Security record keeping system. That could have been addressed then. I understand that Obama didn't do a terrible job as far as the immigration, but again, he could have done even a better job and not leave it to Donald Trump to do, and especially not leave it to Joe Biden to do, because they just absolutely let millions of people in here and they didn't care. But if you go back, I'm going to find that clip. Joe Biden had a video at a Zoom conference with some Democrats, I guess, supporters or other lawmakers. And he alluded to the fact that there was a program in place underway, I would say officially sanctioned by the government, to replace Black people, to replace them with the Hispanics and illegal aliens. And he flatly said this, Joe Biden. He said, you all better get used to start working with the Hispanics and the illegals because, basically to replace Black people, you better learn how to work with these other people, because basically alluding to the fact that you ain't going to be able to work, you ain't going to get nowhere too much working with Blacks. So, like I said, Joe Biden considered him to be a devil. He is the one of the main drivers of that crime bill that was so devastating to generations of Black people that went to jail for little or nothing, shouldn't have gone. And I still don't know to this day, whether while he was trying to pardon all those people at the end of his term in office, did he pardon all of those thousands of Black people that was wrongfully jailed unjustly under the things such as 3 strikes and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, old Joe Biden, good old, they call him Jim Crow Joe, had a program talked about the program in place to replace black people. And they've been they really tried to do it with this illegal alien situation. They're doing their best to he was doing his best to try to legalize them and get them to be able to be permanently here and be able to vote so they could vote for the Democrats. And it's been proven that they actually had that program in place. Hopefully Trump can turn a lot of that around. Understand that I think he just revoked the protected asylum status for thousands of people who came here illegally or, hadn't gone through the process. Temporary protected status, something like that. So I understand that he did terminate that. And I hope that he's on the road to moving these thousands and hundreds of thousands of these illegals need to be the hell up out of here. And from what I understand, that the border now is really sealed off, very secure now. Only very few people are coming in through that southern border, which is great. But I still think that these little countries, Canada and Mexico especially, they jumping up bad like they're defying President Trump, basically saying, Trump, you ain't shit. That's basically what they're saying. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what they're telling me, I ain't shit. So you know what, Mexicans, government, you better be glad I'm not the president, because I still think they need to tax. They need to put a surcharge on all remittances going to Mexico. Put a 3% surcharge on any. So they want to send billions of dollars back. Yes, the government of the United States need to be collecting 3%, all that money that is being earned in America and being sent to an enemy. I mean, whether they've been declared an enemy or not, their actions have been those of an enemy. Unfair trade. They let people come through thousands of miles of their territory from Colombia, El Salvador. They had to walk. So that means, don't tell me that the Mexican government did not know that all those people were walking across their country thousands of miles, knowing their destination was here. Because if they just wanted to escape their country, they could have just stayed in Mexico. They did not have to come 2,000, 3,000 miles to try to walk across the border in Texas. They could have just stayed right there in Mexico. The first country where they could have sought asylum, Mexico. So, Mexico, to me, has proven to be an enemy. They're enemies of the United States. And they need to be treated as such. And again, I'm definitely cheerleading for President Trump and the Republican regime and those in office right now to really address them and whoop that ass like it should be whooped. Again, be glad I'm not the president. Trump was giving y'all a lot of mercy, which you wouldn't get from me. Understand that. What else is going on this week? Like I said, the whole scare about Social Security, I got mine, so I think that's been quieted down. Caroline Levitt is still conducting the press meetings in the press room, and she's handling these journalists or so-called journalists like a boss. She's handling them. She's not taking no bull crap, and she's smacking those that need to be smacked. Love it. Great 100% improvement versus the brain dead Negro clown That was there before. Yeah, another Negro clown. Yeah, you gonna hear me say those words every broadcast. Caroline Jean Pierre, a clown. Okay. Well, then let me just run through my clowns again. I haven't heard too much out of, Jasmine Crockett she's still talking crap. And other ones, Whoopi Goldberg and them with The View. These people are still talking stuff about Trump, still talking stuff about Musk. I understand they threatening Musk. They're glad that people are shooting at Tesla cars, trying to throw Molotov cocktails. And these Democrats, they're not denouncing any of it. They're glad to see it happen. But one thing I heard that happened is they said they caught some of these people that's doing some of this vandalism, which I consider to be terrorism. They're looking at 20 years in prison, and hopefully they get it. Hopefully they get 20 years in prison. Since they want to play stupid games, they need to get a stupid prize. Like I said, Trump said he ain't even thinking about pardoning. Put them under the jail. You gonna shoot guns and throw bombs, Molotov cocktails at a Tesla dealerships and at Tesla cars. And fortunately, nobody has been killed or hurt yet, I don't think physically because of this. But I mean, if you shooting guns and throwing bombs, you do that enough times, somebody's liable to get hurt. And all because you hate Elon Musk and you mad at him because he's uncovering billions of dollars of wasted money that the American taxpayers have been ripped off for decades. And now we got somebody that's actually looking at it. And I said before, we need those in Illinois. They need to have a department, somebody doing a forensic audit. Where did the money go? Where's all this taxpayer money gone over the past decades? This should be instituted in all states. And I'm still hoping, waiting for the day where they're going to have the U.S. Marshals come pick up some of these rogue politicians that's defying the immigration law, such as AOC, Brandon Johnson, this fool Wu, I think that's her name, in Boston. I want to see some people going to jail. I want to see some people being picked up and taken to jail. That's what I want to see. That's what needs to happen. Example needs to be made of these people that's doing this, and they're endangering the American citizen, and then making the United States citizens pay for the upkeep of the criminal. Just enough home American criminals to take care of versus trying to import thousands more to come in and do some killing, robbing, and other things that they do. Violating people, whether that be children or women or whoever. But the fallout still continues to be heard regarding the death of Angie Stone, a great musician. I really did not follow her. I remember a couple of songs that she did, but she was not an artist that I follow. But there's still rumors that, people, that she died under mysterious circumstances and somebody had her killed because of she complained about the record company stealing her money and she's not getting her royalties and stuff like that. But I hope to see that resolved and the truth come out to that and that these people get justice. Actually, I mean, really, to me, if somebody's been successful in murdering you, there is no justice. I mean, it's only maybe retribution. You know, somebody kill you maybe, but you know that person is not gonna come back. Families and children have lost their parent or loved one forever, and you know, no matter what, nothing can bring them back. But it's only a small comfort if sometimes money is a pacifier and other things, but that's no real compensation for someone who really has been a victim of crime or killed or something like that. Note here to me, this is a program note. In about 3 days, watch my channel. You should be subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. I have a vlog coming up. I'm going to do another live stream, God willing. This is going to be about Kamala Harris. And the title of it is going to be The Funeral, Death, and Autopsy of Kamala Harris campaign. The funeral, the death, the autopsy of Kamala Harris campaign. Long thought of doing this. I finally worked on this some today, and that's something I'm going to be doing, inshallah. So look out for that. I think it's within 3 days. I think it may be the 30th. The 30th in the evening there, Central Standard Time. Well, just in America, period. So watch out for that. Also, I have in the works to do a interview with Scott Charles, my brother-in-law. I just recently featured some of his music on a vlog. He performed some of his originals and cover songs for over 50 minutes. So if you have not seen that broadcast featuring my brother Scott Charles, go check that out on my channel. I'm looking forward to interviewing him within the next few days. So again, we got Scott Charles hopefully coming up with a musician's interview with him. And also, don't forget that special blog live stream. You're welcome to join me, share it, come contribute your own commentary. The funeral, the death, and the autopsy of Kamala Harris campaign. Been very quiet. Women's basketball Sweet 16 is going on. The biggest thing that went with that is, if I didn't already mention maybe last week, Juju Watkins, probably somebody that's looking to be a number one draft pick for women's basketball. She went down to a season-ending injury. I think she tore her ACL. The ACL, one of the worst things that injuries you can get. So she's out for the season. And they're saying she might be out of action for a year. So that's very unfortunate because they were really building her up to be almost like the second coming of Christ, almost like she was going to be the number one rival to CC. They don't even say her name, but the one they consider as the Jesus of the white Jesus of women's basketball. But Juju Watkins went down to injury, so that's very unfortunate. Haven't heard too much. Oh, another thing that just happened today. AZ Fudd, who figured to be drafted in this year's WNBA draft. They projected her to possibly even go as high as the third pick overall. she decided not to declare for the draft. She's going to stay at UConn for another year, which I guess that would be her senior year. So she's not going to turn pro. She's going to stay in college, and she wants to play basketball in college for another year. So that shakes up the draft because there was several teams who were looking forward to drafting her in the draft. It's coming up this May, but now she's declared she's not going pro. So that's going to throw several teams off that were thinking about drafting her. So that's another very significant thing that happened in the women's sports world. I tell you honestly, what else is going on? NBA, I don't even follow it. I don't follow any sports. I'm only following women's basketball somewhat because of the coming into the league of Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso being drafted as 2 top 10 draft picks by the Chicago Sky. That's really and then there, of course, their rivalry with this other person whose initials is CC, ain't calling the name. So that's the only sports that I'm really following right now. But I say overall, still, politics has been kind of quiet. I think a lot of it is now being done quietly behind the scenes. There's no big major controversy. Oh, they tried to say that the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, they're trying to lie and say that he texted classified information and gave the people the war plans or the battle plans of what the military was getting ready to do, because they did do some military strikes this week to someone called the Houthis, I believe, in Yemen. And they were trying to say that they had let a journalist leak classified information. That turned out not to be true. There was no battle plans given. There was no names given of the targets. There was no times, places given for the targets, none of that. But that was a big dust up. Again, a wild goose chase and somebody crying, wolf crying by the Democrats, who they're just so hungry, they're so desperate to find something to criticize Donald Trump and people in his cabinet and administration for something that they would have done. But then that turned out to be a lie. So, the lies keep rolling on. And like I said, I'm talking about the death and autopsy of Kamala Harris. You might well say the funeral, death, and autopsy of the Democratic Party. I really believe they're dead. They're dead for the next decade. They can forget about trying to recapture the White House for the next 2 or 3 elections. They can forget it. Especially should Trump be successful in cutting trillions of dollars out of federal spending. One such spending is called so much drama. Again, they talk about Social Security. I think all that is going to be, they're going to look for fraud, they're going to look for waste. There may be some procedural things where they were thinking that people may be inconvenienced, seniors, because they're going to have to go in person to give proof of life or to certify that they're legitimate recipients of Social Security benefits, which that is not bad. I mean, that is a good thing. I think, and I don't think that Donald Trump personally is such an asshole as people make him out to be, that if there's enough, he sees that there's enough real suffering from the elderly that can't get to the physical station. I believe that he's going to make provision for them to be certified. And actually, if you save enough trillions of dollars of federal spending, they're going to be able to afford to pay Social Security agents to go make house calls to these addresses and certify these people. So somebody can go to these seniors' homes or the senior citizen buildings or whatever. And again, I believe that Trump, should that be the case, if there's that much inconvenience, he is going to make provisions to alleviate that. So, the other thing that was been very big is, this organization called USAID. And it sounds like USAID, but people just pronounce it like that. It's the American Institute of Development, something like that. United States Institute of Development. And a lot of that has to do with foreign aid, or quote unquote foreign aid. Now, one particular area of this so-called aid has come up, and I like to highlight it. The so-called aid in Africa. Now, we have a beautiful sister here who used to be the African Union's ambassador to the United States. Her name escapes me now. It'll come to me when I re-upload this. I make sure I have her name. But she's saying a lot of that so-called aid money, that wasn't meant to help Africa. That was meant to cause havoc and frustrate the African governments for insidious purposes. Not to help Africans, not to help Black people. They're there to spy on them, and to interfere with the government, and if anything, interfere with the African nation's self-determination to do a lot of things that they could do themselves better for themselves if they were left alone by the colonial powers. So I'm pretty sure America, to some extent, has been involved with that. I know Europe has. I know France has definitely been involved with it. And I'm glad to see brothers like Ibrahim Traoré, Julius Malema come up, and they are now fighting this wicked devil, this operating European devil, American devil, that's in and on the African continent, wreaking havoc, not aiding, but trying to suppress them, trying to take over, trying to exploit their resources. And I'm praying for the day we got leaders now that'll come up. They allowed Colonel Gaddafi to be killed under Obama. Like I said, I hate that bastard forever for his part in murder of Gaddafi. But we got some more. They tried to kill him, supposedly killed him, allowed him to be killed. But now some more leaders are rising up, and they're not gonna get these. The Africans getting ready to come back, and we're getting ready to get our just due and get the colonizer off Africa. Get out of there. You can have keep our own minerals. You want our minerals, you want our cocoa and other thing, coffee. That's fine. You're gonna have to pay market rate, and you're not gonna be making $1 million and you want to give Africans 10,000 of that, no more of that. That has to stop. That has to stop 100%. And I believe these nations, these leaders are going to challenge America and challenge Europe on this, and they need to be challenged all the way. They need to be challenged all the way. And I believe eventually that's a war they think they want. That's going to be Armageddon, and they're going to lose it. They're going to lose that because I think their time is up. The oppression of African continent, that time is up. That time is getting ready to be up. And Trump, America, you best be on the right side of that war. Don't mess around and be on the wrong side of that. Trust me, you don't. France, hope they get France ass. France had the nerve to make it so Haiti had to pay them reparations after being liberated, after Haiti liberated themselves from France. They had the situation set up where Haiti was paying reparations to France. They had that backwards. France should have been paying reparations to them. That situation need to be stopped. You want to do something, Trump, you need to reverse that shit. But again, I have another theme song that I don't have it with me now, but my next broadcast, I want to quote this song or refer to this song by James Brown. And he has a phrase in there that says, "Where's Moses?" And I said I did comment on a commentary on YouTube. I said, as much as a lot of people don't like Donald Trump being president, I said that President Trump is sitting in the seat of Pharaoh by God's permission. Donald Trump is sitting in the seat of Pharaoh in the modern day Egypt because God wanted him there. So then the next question is, where's Moses? We know who Pharaoh is. Where's Moses? Who's Moses? We'll find that out in a few days. Trump, Pharaoh, where's Moses? So this has been a nice synopsis here today. I don't have to belabor the point too long because there has nothing been happening that's really been earth-shaking, earth-shattering. Like I said, the Democrats are still up to their buffoonery. The Negro clowns are still clowning. The Democrat clowns are still clowning. They're still crying and whining. They're still crying wolf. They're still lying. They're still trying to find something they can pin on Trump and the Republicans, and it is not sticking. Like I said, you did have some military action by the United States, I think, against Yemen, people in Yemen. So we'll see how that shakes out. I haven't heard anything else. I've noticed I haven't heard anything about Ukraine. I haven't heard anything about that situation. I also haven't heard much about the Palestine-Israel situation either. So I'm pretty sure we will pretty soon. Must mention, Minister Farrakhan recently went through a medical procedure, surgery, I guess, and we sent up call for prayer for him, and he has come through that procedure successfully. All praise is due to Allah, God, for that. So as he's recovering, so I'm looking forward to seeing Minister Farrakhan back on the stage or behind a pulpit soon, or sit down in this chair, wherever, and delivering some of his wisdom to us, word to us personally. But that is good news that Minister Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam, and of course, someone I consider to be my leader and teacher, national spokesman for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has come through his surgery and procedure successfully. So I'll be keeping a watch on that. So that's basically it. Again, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share this broadcast, and hit the notification bell. I believe in 3 days, look at my live stream, the funeral, death, and autopsy of Kamala Harris campaign. And then also look for me to do an interview live, maybe live, with Scott Charles, the musician. So thank you very much. And we will see you then. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, follow me on Fanbase. Download the Fanbase app. Download the Fanbase app. I gotta put this note in here so you all remember. Download the Fanbase app. Create a free profile and follow Geechee Lion Music and Geechee Lions Journey. All right, that's what we need. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you with Scott Charles, the musician, and with the live stream about Kamala Harris. Like, share, and subscribe. Go to my website, www.geecheelandmusic.com. Buy some music. Subscribe to the radio station. Thank you very much.